Welcome back to the Hot Hill Girl podcast. Episode, I don't even know.
Nope. I never know.
This month has been a shit show, and I don't know what episode it's on. We're somewhere in the 20s though, but
I wouldn't know.
yeah,
Even though I edited a bunch and just threw them in there. I don't really look at the number. It's fine.
it automatically just adds the number. So
Exactly. So we don't have to know. I don't have to
yeah,
know.
yeah. But we're glad you're here anyway. Today, Siete is apparently canceled.
Oh yeah. There was a whole thing. So for those of you that didn't see, I don't remember who the person is on social media. I know she has about 15,000 followers. She made a post pretty much canceling Siete. She was like, I will not be supporting them, blah, 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 blah. And so she emailed them asking if they were organic, if they sprayed. And the quote was literally harmful toxins, pesticides, and herbicides, which is like very generic. And then like a couple other things that I don't fully remember. And they responded that they are not organic. And for those of you that didn't know this, Siete has not been organic this whole entire time. Like nothing is changing there. Like I was fully
No.
aware of that. Don't care because their stuff's good and like it's some of the best out there. If we're
And they've
just gonna
never
speak
claimed
shade.
to be organic
No,
either.
yeah, it's
So
not like they've been lying about it. Because I saw a couple people that were like, "Oh, it's not organic, not having that anymore," and I'm like, "Why are you not reading your food labels? Like this has not changed."
that frustrates me so much when people don't read their food labels. Or um that's actually another thing I was like, we should talk about this on the podcast too, because when I sometimes I'll share stuff
Mm-hmm.
on like something that I'm eating or like a product that I'm using, and then people will be like, well, what do you think about this one? Like, how does it compare to this? And I'm like, you guys can see the label like just as well as I can,
Yep.
you know? Um,
It's the same when people like will throw out a supplement out of nowhere that you've never heard of. It's not
I
like
know.
I'm talking about PC and they're asking about a different body bio or something. Like it's just like, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
looked into that supplement. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like for example, the electrolytes I was sharing the other day, like talking about potassium. I was like, well, I like this one because it has a higher amount of potassium in
Yeah.
it. And somebody was like, well, what do you feel about this one? And it was a brand that I had never even heard of before. And they're like asking, I guess, in terms of like comparing it to potassium. And I said, was like, well, I didn't say that because obviously I appreciate when you guys ask me questions. I really, really do. This is not me saying I don't like that, but just like this is coming back to do your own research. Like I said, this product had 400 milligrams of potassium. You sent me the link to this product. And just by clicking on that link, I can clearly see that it says 200 milligrams of
Mm-hmm.
potassium. So, as far as it compares, the one that I shared would be the one that I would go for. So,
No, I
you
also
know,
think that okay, so this is also not me hating on like our audience because I don't feel like this happens to me as much, but a lot of people think that because we like create and share information on the internet that we're their personal Google and
mm-hmm.
you can use Google as well as I can. Because there are,
Yeah.
I'm not even joking, there are times when I will Google something and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I Googling something for someone that could easily Google it just as well as I can?
I know. Yeah. And again, like I said, it's not like we're trying to say don't ask us questions because
We all got
we
thumbs, babies.
we do appreciate it, but
I definitely don't get that much of this if I'm going to be totally honest. I did at one point and I politely told people like to do their own research, like it's up to you. And that's just like what we preach anyways, like do your own research. It's your
mm-hmm.
body, it's your life. And so that's okay, getting back to the Siete thing. They answered pretty much being like not organic, never claimed to be, potentially will pursue that in the future. And then, you know, they pretty much can't say anything about the toxins, herbicides, pesticides, whatever, because there's like a really fine line with what you can actually talk about and what you can actually disclose and what you can't. And because it's just like they're not going to tell you the brands of things that they spray. And also probably the person answering the email doesn't know the brands of the things that they spray, right? Like it's a very hairy situation right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that person was like, they won't disclose it with me. I'm canceling them. Literally. Like that was the whole post. And honestly, nothing against that person. We have every right to believe whatever we want to believe. It grinds my gears food fear is so real out there. And to cancel, one, a small business that's actually doing some really great things in the space, and two, to cancel something just because like it's not organic. You've known this. And now you're like, well, they use harmful herbicides, pesticides, and toxins. Like, if it's not organic, you probably assumed that anyways. Like, that's just the truth, or you should.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Siete products go, they have a very minimal ingredient list, which is something that I like to see. They don't use gums or
They have
preservatives.
xanthan gum in a couple of their things, but
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say probably like their sauces and stuff does have that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't find that to be as irritating to most people as
Yeah.
a lot of the
No,
other ones.
agreed.
But yeah,
And if
no
we go to their
weird.
ingredient list, it's not the most sprayed things out there, right? It's not
Hmm.
gluten, it's not corn, it's not soy, it's not all of those like big cash crops.
Oats.
Oats, thank you, that
Yeah.
too. Like things that you really, really, really need to get organic because it is sprayed heavily. It's not like those aren't most of their ingredients.
Yeah. And I don't think they use natural flavors, which
They don't.
personally for me
The worst.
is a big thing because everybody uses freaking natural flavors.
Oh, and they asked about how they derive their citric acid because they do have citric acid in some of their chips that are like flavored stuff. And they said it's all derived from, I believe it was beets or like cane sugar, which great. Good to know where it's derived from, right? Because citric acid can be irritating to some people. It was just like a whole goose chase at Siete. And I mean, we've been big fans of Siete for a long time. Literally since I started going gluten free, like 3 months in, I found Siete and I would drive 30 minutes to get their tortillas and chips because it was sold nowhere.
I know.
It
Yeah.
was, and I would spend so much money on those tortillas. I'm so glad there's discounts now because that was when I could, like, I was eating like a pretty strict diet and I was eating very low carb, but like the one thing I would eat with carbs was the tortillas. Like I would have two with breakfast and have breakfast tacos every single day for, I'm not joking, probably 6 months. It was
Hmm.
wild
Yeah.
how many tortillas I ingested.
Yeah. I mean, for people that like can't eat a lot of things, they're an
Exactly.
amazing option. And like you're saying, you can't give up everything. Like that just life just sucks when you give up everything.
Like,
So,
why? And I think that's like what I'm harping in on because I'm like, also as a practitioner, I don't want you to give up everything.
mhm,
Like, I have done that. And I know that like I'm not the only one out there who's done that, who like had orthorexic tendencies. Everything had to be perfect. I wouldn't eat out. I would literally, this is hilarious because I went out to eat with my friend once and I told her I just wasn't going to eat because I was like being gluten to whatever. I got freaking steamed spinach. Do you know how disgusting that is? Like that was what I ate while she ate because I was so afraid of what was in everything. Like that's
mhm,
not a way to live your life.
yeah.
Don't go and eat steamed spinach. She'll never let me live that down. She literally, every single time, she's like, you have to eat. Like, you can't eat steamed spinach this time. I'm like, it was a time. We're over that in our lives. But like, life is meant to be enjoyed and not like micromanaging. And like, we want you to read your food labels. We
Yeah.
want you to reduce the toxins in your life, but we don't want you to obsess over it. Like, there is I wouldn't even say fine line. Like, you can live your life and live a more non-toxic life and live a pretty healthy life and not go crazy over every single ingredient on every single little thing that's going on in your body.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into what we were talking about before we started
Yeah.
recording was like the emotional and the fear aspect, like the fearful side of health. And you're saying how a lot of your clients, or just people you talk to right now, like the emotional healing is the
It's
hump
taking
that they're
precedence.
having to
Yeah.
get over.
It's taking precedence for everyone because, right, like, so I merge both. We both do
Hmm.
in my practice. Like, I think that it is pretty 50-50 with physical and emotional.
Yep.
And so many more people are coming to me that are like, I've done all these protocols, I've done all these good things, like blah, 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 blah. And great. So we start working together. We do the drainage, we do the foundations. I throw some nervous system stuff at them. They usually ignore it the first time I throw it. Let's just be real, right? Like they're like, yeah. And then we start getting into things and we start peeling back toxin layers. And like, let's also be real. There's a huge emotional component when you start reducing your toxin load. Like, emotional die-off's also a thing where you're just
Hmm.
like, why am I crying all the time? Because you're shedding layers of toxins, and toxins can be tied to negative emotions and all that junk. And so everyone's like I wouldn't even say hitting a wall, but at this point in my practice, the emotional health aspect is way more important than the physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do a parasite cleanse, you can address mold. I'm not the only practitioner that does it. I'm also obviously not the only one that does emotional health, but like these people are hitting such a point where they're like, why am I not progressing the way I want to? And I'm like, because you're not fucking digging deep into all of that trauma. Like the body literally holds on to trauma. The body keeps a score, right? You can read that book, you can talk about any of them, but your body doesn't forget things. Like it doesn't forget the emotions that you were meant to feel in terms of fear. In terms of, I know for some of my clients, I have a lot of gut health people, and I'll say that I was one of them. Like the fear of shitting my pants was something to really overcome. I'm not even going to lie. Like, it's just because, like, you always think another shoe's going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of my clients are overcoming right now, thinking another shoe's going to drop, thinking literally, like, okay, well, I'm feeling better now, but what happens when I feel worse again? And I'm like, ooh, time to unlearn that. Can't wait. Because that was my case. Every time you get put in a situation very similarly, every time I get in a car, I'm like, okay, what happens if I'm far from a bathroom? Like, and I know that a lot of people won't resonate with this, but I know that there's a lot of people that do as well. Like, a lot of my clients are like, oh, yeah, I felt that. Like, that's terrifying. And then you get into a car and you're scared all the time and you're in this like stressed fight or flight thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, we need to unlearn that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so, ugh. So how do we unlearn that, right? Because you're like, you're not giving me anything positive. I promise I will. Well, one, we've talked about tappings can be really important. MBSR can be helpful, neurofeedback, brain rewiring, any of that. And I think that like you need a piece of that. You need one of them or
Mm-hmm.
multiple ones. Everyone's different. Everyone resonates with different things.
Yeah, you need to find
That's
the
it.
one that you're gonna stick to.
Yeah. And that works for you.
Yeah. Because I have a lot of people that they know they need to do the trauma work and they know they need to do it, but they're like, I just can't, like, I know myself and I just can't stick to it. Like, if it's something that I have to do on my own. And I actually
Yep.
send not a lot, but I tell a lot of people about your MBSR stuff because you do it with them.
Exactly.
And
You book it
so,
on your calendar and it's there.
yeah, so you have to sit down. They have to sit down with you and do it. And it's not something that you have to do on your own.
Yeah.
If you can do something on your own, awesome. Like,
A
great,
lot of
do
people
that.
can't.
Yeah. But sometimes you just need that accountability and somebody to sit
Yeah.
through it with you. So that's where like an MBSR session with Courtney would be the way to go for you.
Yeah. Or like some people I know obviously go to neurofeedback. Like it's like when you make your appointments, right? You make them once a week. Like it's just you go and you're on a program there. It's
Yeah.
not like when you first go to the chiropractor, they're not like, oh, your back's out of whack. You're gonna come once and it's gonna be better. Like, no, they tell you to come twice a week for like a month or whatever it is. It's a
Mm-hmm.
similar thing there. Like there are certain things that can get you to be more accountable. And so, anyways, all of those pieces are important, but we also want you to become that person you're trying to be. Like literally, I know it's so woo woo, but it's the truth. Like when you show up in that energy of like, I'm already healed, or you show up in that energy of like, how can, if you're healed, how are you going to live your life? You're not going to be afraid to go drive places. You're not going to be afraid to leave your house. You're not going to feel like you need to pack 700 snacks every single time you go on vacation. I'm probably never going to stop packing snacks. I'm a hangry person, but like showing up with like more joy and just a happier person and just like transforming yourself. It's just showing up with everyone because they're like, I realize that like a lot of them work from home. I work from home. I don't leave my house. And then like my kids come home and I make food and then the next day is over. And then it's just like you go through this routine. And they're like, and when I'm not working, all I'm thinking about are my symptoms because I'm just home and I'm like, do something, shake it up, go to a dance class, go like do something fun. Like what sounds fun to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get in routines, but like if you're happy and healthy and living your best life, like what does that look like?
Yep.
I
Because
like
I'm
make people
guilty.
book appointments. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm
because
so
working from
guilty.
home changes things.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
great.
I get too comfortable at home and then I don't want to leave my house. And so
Exactly.
I have to
And I'm like,
force
no,
myself.
you have to. And you have to like plan those trips, plan those vacations. Like, what is it that you want to do? What is it that makes you happy?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not gonna lie. The trauma work's just as important as that. Like you have to do both because there's some people that do all that trauma work and then they like don't actually step back into their life. Like you don't actually move forward to become a different person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go get out there. Get them, Tiger.
It's hard for a lot of people because that's been their identity for so long. And
Yeah.
so it's a major identity shift for a lot of
Yeah.
them. But,
And I
and
know,
you
no,
don't have to
it's
do it all at once. It's
no,
just
and just like one
little
little thing,
steps.
right? Think of
Yeah.
like one thing a week that's going to make you happy.
Hmm.
Maybe you're booking a dance class every week. Maybe you're going to Zumba. Maybe you're just going to go work out. Like, what does that look like? I don't know. I'm not in your shoes. For me, it's going to be that we start going to coffee shops and getting out on Friday mornings and doing matcha mornings and just like working a little bit from there because like I want more interaction with people. I'm a social being. Dan is probably sick of me at this point in our relationship. I barely see people that aren't him because I also go to the gym and I don't talk to people, right? Like,
Hmm.
except the old men that want to give advice, but that's not exactly like the joyful conversations that you want to have.
Yeah.
You know, the old men friends, they're like, you can do a bunch of pull ups. And I'm like, no. And they're like, you should try. And I'm like, stop. Stop asking
Thankfully, I
me.
don't have those interactions.
Oh no. The one old guy
There's
today invited me to his jazz band. They're playing on Friday. You know, how to make friends. Maybe that's because I'm like putting out there
We're
that I want to make
friends.
friends, so I get those friends. But that's okay. We're gonna get the other people too.
Yeah, there we go.
And like I agree. Like I fell into a rut for so long that I was always focusing on like improving my health and improving things. But then you got to get out of that. Like you got to get out of that. And that's not saying that we're not going to improve things in our life, but like I have to get out of that micromanaging of the constantly improving this, that. One thing pops up, you got to like put it back in that box. And it's just like boring, lame. I don't need to do it.
Yeah, being healthy is totally an identity that that you cannot let consume yourself to.
Yeah. Because like I said, like you don't have to bring your food to every single thing. And like maybe there was a point in time you did because who knows, but like you also can let go of that at a certain point.
Hmm.
And like I'm guilty because it also depends who's in your family, friend group, whatever. Like they don't accommodate the most to me. And like gluten's still a huge trigger in my body. I'm still
Hmm.
working to heal that. I don't know. I wonder if like I can do more nervous system work and it can, because some people say they've healed it. Don't know. I used to break out in aggressive eczema. I only break out in a little eczema now. So we've made a lot of progress.
Yeah, that's a lot better progress.
Oh no, we've made a lot of progress, but I still like it's just not, I don't want gluten because then it makes me feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna feel miserable, then it's not
Yeah.
worth it. But
I just like have been talking to a lot more people about like daily joy and like I've been journaling more too because like when you wake up and you journal and like gratitude journaling, like picturing things that make you happy, blah 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 blah, and like writing about it has been helpful. When you wake up with that, because I realized this was a couple weeks ago, I was waking up and I was like, like that's how I woke up with that sort of
hmm.
energy, which is so funny because I have always been probably one of the happiest, most positive people I've known. And I realized that this past year, a lot of shit happened to me. That's okay. And it kind of took a toll on me too much. So like I let it because it's about letting it, right? Like, and I was just
Hmm.
like in a rut, in a hole, in whatever you want to call it.
That's
And I'm
okay
over
though.
it.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah. And like you got to hit those lows to like realize that there are a lot of highs and like to get to those highs. And I totally get it. But I'm like, I'm over it. We're not doing that anymore. We're waking up every single morning saying it's going to be the best day ever. Or today, wow, can't wait for today to be such a great day. Tell Dan that and he tells me the same thing, right? Because he's like, so he's very supportive. So he's like, it's going to be a great day. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be the best freaking day ever. And then if I don't believe it, I say it again and I say it again, right? Like you tell yourself what a great day it's going to be. You tell yourself that all of your manifestations and all of your dreams are happening today. I'm
Hmm.
so excited. And you just feel excited about it. And you slowly just like those little things add up.
Yeah. I mean, think about for everyone who's listening, think about how many times you've probably woken up and been like, oh, today is gonna suck.
Yeah.
I don't want to do today. Like today is gonna be the worst. It's gonna be so long. And I think if you just flip-flopped what you're saying.
I'm so grateful for today. I'm so grateful
Mm-hmm.
for this, that, because for me, it was not that I was saying today was going to suck, but I was like, there's a lot to do today. Like, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God. And then I would like frame that and be like, I'm so grateful, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I have a lot to do. I didn't, you can go through the motions, but if you don't believe it, it's not going to change much.
Yeah. And we're not trying to just preach at you here because I'm 100% guilty of waking
We're
up
going
and
through
being
it.
like, yeah, and being like the same as you, just like, I have to do stuff today.
Which I noticed that and I was mind blown, like literally mind blown. Cause I am not joking when I used to be, and that doesn't mean I can't get back to that, but like genuinely, I would wake up, pop out of bed, go like excited, screaming, dancing, all that stuff. Like, so I was like, who am I? What happened? And like I said, like that's life happens. Things will
Mm-hmm.
go up and down. Like it's about how you react to it. It's about how you rebound. And like I'm not gonna let it get me into a hole for like an extended period of time. But like, yeah, there was some really hard shit going on. Not gonna lie about it. Like there, and I talk about it all the time. Like my nervous system has had to relearn a lot and like not be triggered by small daily things
Mm-hmm.
and work to expand and contract all of that nervous system stuff. So like I get it. I'm with you when we have to relearn nervous system stuff and like relearn that joy.
It's a process. Process.
I think my number one small thing that like write down things that make you happy and see if you can do one every day. And if you're like, holy shit, I don't even know what makes you happy. We all have at least one song that makes us happy. Like put on the song that makes you happy, let yourself just dance free. For me, that's actually singing in my car. It's not always the dancing,
I
it's
was
the
gonna
like
say,
aggressive
yeah. For me,
windows
it's
down.
driving and music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you don't know what makes you happy, start there. And then let's be real, your mood's going to be turned around at least a little bit, at least for a couple of minutes, at least for an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and then go with it. What makes you happy from there? What keeps that high?
Yep.
And if you don't have a song, like hit me up. I'll give you lots of songs.
Go listen to Owl City. You'll be happy.
There's lots of stuff. There's lots of bands out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, today was really just us telling you to show up as the person you want to become. Add it into your life, right? It
Yeah.
seems woo woo and it seems like it doesn't work, but holy cow, it works so much if you commit to it. It's right. It's
If you commit
like
to it.
nothing, it's not a one and done thing.
Yeah. It's gonna seem like it's not working and it's gonna seem like it's not working. And then all of a sudden
And
you'll
then
be
one day
like,
you're
whoa,
like, I'm a different person. Yeah.
yeah. You'll be jumping out of bed like Courtney and just ready to go.
Yeah.
If I can ever get to the day where I can just jump out of bed, I don't know. That's just not my personality. I've never been
Oh,
that way.
and I would like, I don't know. I'm a very different human being. And I know that in that, like, I can get up at 6 a.m. and be like hype. And that's not just on vacation. Like, I can, because I used to teach at 5 a.m. and I used to teach at 6 a.m. Like, we used to teach classes. So, like, I can wake up and bring the energy. That's not really an issue. But, like, I got out of that for a period of time. And I'm like, we're going to wake up and feel some energy again. We're going to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it all depends on my cycle. Because I've
That's
been
fair.
tracking my cycle for so long. So I know like I'm just not gonna feel like that this week. And that's
And that's
okay.
fine too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some people that maybe need like to move slower and don't wake up with that energy. And that's like fine. Just wake up with like some sort of mantra, happiness, joy. It doesn't need to be energy, but just like, ooh, like you can do it slowly, but like, wow, today's gonna be great. Like that sort of stuff. Doesn't
Hmm.
have to be like, oh yeah, you can't see me. If you could, you'd be not everyone can see me. I was like pretty much taking everyone by their lapels and shaking the shit out of them. I have lapels right now. That's why I thought about it with the flannel.
She's back in her checkered flannel shirt.
Yeah, because
No
it's
Sherpa
really nice
today.
out. So I'm wearing a sports bra and I can't, well, I could, but I wouldn't wear a sports bra on camera. That's a bit much.
I mean, you can't tell it would just look like a tank top from this
That's
angle.
why I do
So
it with the flannel.
there we go. All right. Well, if people
We're
want,
into minisodes.
yes. Life is crazy, so you get some minisodes, but we also have guests coming,
Yeah,
so
we do.
expect some longer
We
ones.
have a couple. Yeah, they're gonna get longer. So like enjoy these minisodes and then you're gonna have some long guest stuff and yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So if people want more emotional healing from you, where can they find you?
You can find me at the THE Rooted in Health. My Instagram, I have a whole highlight on MBSR. And on my website, like I have a page on it. So you can read all that stuff. The highlights, like got some more clips from my clients. And if you just want to talk to me about emotional healing, because there's a lot more there is to it, let's chat. What about you?
Find me at Emily Joy Wellness on Instagram, website, pretty much everywhere else too. Thanks for listening to our minisode. Please rate us, subscribe, just drop 5 stars or 4 stars, however many stars you want.
Just drop
It
some
just
stars.
really helps other people find the
Mm-hmm.
podcast and boost us in the algorithm. So if you like what you hear, please let us know. And we will catch you in the next episode with a super fun guest.
Woohoo. Bye.